Up on Mountain News at 5:30, is the federal government shutdown coming to an end? The latest from Washington. And we hear from experts about what you can do to keep your pet safe as we get closer to winter.
And all is quiet right now in the world of weather, but rain chances are in the forecast. Details coming up.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Caroline Mueller. The longest government shutdown in U.S. history could come to an end tonight as the House gets ready to approve a funding package and send it to President Trump for his signature. CBS's Erica Brown has the latest from Capitol Hill.
The House will be in order.
The House convened for the first time in nearly 2 months, ahead of a final vote on a funding bill that would end the government shutdown. Republican Speaker Mike Johnson expressed optimism that the measure will pass.
We believe the long national nightmare will be over tonight. It was completely and utterly foolish and pointless in the end, as we said all along.
The bill funds the government through the end of January, extends funding for SNAP benefits for a full year, and reverses shutdown-related layoffs of federal workers. But the legislation does not include the extension to the Affordable Care Act tax credits that Democrats say is critical to lower premiums, leaving many in the party frustrated.
We have federal workers across the country that have been missing paychecks. We have SNAP recipients, millions of SNAP recipients across the country that, whose access to food stability was imperiled. And we have to figure out what that was for.
If this amended bill gets through the House, it will then go to President Trump for his signature and officially mark the end of the government shutdown.
Our troops, air traffic controllers, and federal employees will be back to receiving their regular paychecks. Families in need will get back to receiving their food purchasing assistance.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warned air travel may still feel some of the impact of the shutdown even after the government reopens.
It depends on controllers coming back to work.
Travelers continue to face uncertainty, with hundreds of flight cancellations reported midday Wednesday. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries filed a discharge petition Wednesday to extend the expiring Affordable Care Act tax credits for 3 years. The petition, which would circumvent House GOP leadership, requires at least 218 signatures from House members to force a floor vote on the issue, so it would need a few Republicans to sign on to trigger floor action. House Democrats released new emails today that reference President Donald Trump and claim he knew about Jeffrey Epstein's victims. One of the emails Epstein wrote to his associate Ghislaine Maxwell that Trump, quote, spent hours at my house with one of the victims of sex trafficking. In another 2019 email, Epstein wrote that Trump, quote, knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Democrats claim the release strikes a blow against the White House's Epstein cover-up. And President Trump responded to the emails released on Truth Social, calling it by Democrats who, to quote, deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown. President Trump is asking for a full pardon for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He faces a number of corruption charges in 3 separate cases, including fraud, bribery, and breach of trust. In a letter sent to and released by the office of Israeli President Isaac Herzog, Trump called the charges political and unjustified. Netanyahu has pleaded not guilty and has not submitted an official request for a pardon in his ongoing trial. As government food program uncertainty continues, local leaders are working to make sure no child goes hungry. In Fayette County, District 8 Council member Amy Beasley and her team are taking action by providing a food drive this weekend. This Saturday, the parking lot at the Chino Kroger will have a bus for folks to drop off their food donations. Then the food will be taken to nearby schools.
The holidays, it's almost Thanksgiving, and they thought they were going to have SNAP benefits, and they don't. It's going to be game changing for some of them, especially like sometimes the parents will not eat so that the kids can eat, but if you have a little extra, then they'll be able to have dinner as well.
Some of the most needed items on the list are canned foods, soups and pastas, diapers, and hygiene products. Tennessee officials say they are beginning to process SNAP payments. Beneficiaries will get 65% of their typical payment. Some will see the funds showing up as early as today. The state says it will send the remaining 35% of monthly payments as soon as the USDA makes the funding available. The House is set to vote on a spending bill tonight that is backed by the president and would end the federal government shutdown. The search continues for a missing minor out of Nicholas County, West Virginia. Governor Patrick Morrisey says while the search is on its 5th day, it remains a rescue mission, and draining the water is the top priority. The situation happened last Saturday when crews struck an unknown pocket of water. That allowed water to quickly rush into the section where miners were working. The governor says there's still hope to find the missing miner alive. More than 100 jobs will be lost at Steel of West Virginia in Huntington. The company is preparing to idle its melt shop, which they say is at the end of its life cycle. The company also says it plans to invest $30 million to improve efficiency of its 2 rolling mills. Steel of West Virginia currently employs more than 600 people. With the changes to its facilities, it says they will keep 500 of those jobs. A man was arrested after threatening to attack officers with a sword in Bourbon County. Police responded to the incident yesterday. They say Justin Wade reportedly threatened his mother with a knife. After police got to the scene, they say he threatened to kill officers with a sword and also threatened to blow up the house before retreating back into the basement. He was eventually tased before being taken into custody. Today has easily been the nicest day of the week so far. WIMT First Alert meteorologist Eric Dean joins us with an update. Eric.
Yeah, if you like today, Caroline, I think you're going to like tomorrow as well. We can just hit that copy and paste button. Have a little bit of a wind gust throughout eastern Kentucky, especially towards Jackson, as well as Prestonsburg, over towards Pikeville and Moorhead. But right now, First Alert Live pinpoint Doppler radar, all is quiet throughout eastern Kentucky, and this is going to get a break for the day on Thursday as well, not just for eastern Kentucky, but throughout the entire Commonwealth. Heck, the entire Ohio Valley. Look at that. Plenty of sunshine is the name of the game. And again, we're seeing beautiful conditions. Temperatures right now in the 50s and 60s. If you have plans tonight, we'll see temperatures in the upper 50s by 6 o'clock. You can see clear skies from left to right. Upper 40s, low 50s by 9 p.m. We'll stay in the upper 40s by the time 11 o'clock rolls around. A beautiful evening to check out the Northern Lights. If you didn't get to do so last night, you can catch them again tonight. I'll have a complete First Alert forecast coming up in a few minutes. Caroline.
All right, Eric, thank you. And despite those warmer temperatures today, eastern Kentucky got its first real taste of winter with snowflakes and ice and cool temperatures earlier this week. As the colder months become more of a reality, it's important to keep in mind the best ways to protect our pets during the winter season. Outdoor pets can especially suffer during the colder weather months, so providing them with adequate shelter to help them beat the cold is crucial.
You want to make sure that your animal has shelter, especially if it's an outdoor animal. You want to make sure that it has some sort of shelter that's up, raised off of the ground so that they don't have to walk through any sort of mud or water. And you want to have some sort of insulation, generally something like straw that's inside. You don't really want bedding or, fabric, anything like that, because once it gets wet, then it actually is working against you and it can make the animal even colder.
Keeping animals in sheds or garages may help get them out of the elements, but can also provide dangers by themselves. So be sure to keep chemicals like antifreeze, which has a sweet taste to our furry friends, out of their reach. In a pivotal move, the Food and Drug Administration announced action set to benefit millions of women going through menopause. The FDA says they are taking steps to get rid of black box warnings on many hormone therapy treatments in an effort to improve the health of women. Hormone therapy used to treat menopause has been on the market for years. However, the warning labels on the drugs used for it steered many women away.
Removing that black box warning allows us to confidently give our patients the confidence they need to proceed with therapies that not only will make them feel better, but will also help their overall health.
The FDA says hormone therapy still carries significant risks for some women. So Wendy Enking says patients should talk to their doctor about their symptoms and treatment options best fit for them. Cleanup operations following the UPS plane crash in South Louisville have expanded over 5 miles south of the airport, with oil and debris infiltrating multiple waterways. MSD said the oil and debris was contained to the Melco drainage basin, which includes Pond Creek, the northern ditch, and the southern ditch.
My son and the neighbors' boys and things, they go out there fishing a lot and things like that. And you'll see people walking down to the Louisville Loop and fishing out of the creek and things just right off of the park there.
After learning the crews J.R. Shirelicki had seen working near his home for the past week are actually cleaning up debris from last Tuesday's plane crash, he says he's glad they're there.
I mean, if there's something that's in the waters, it needs to be cleaned up for the community, especially the young children in the neighborhood, for sure.
The crew at Pond Creek is one of several working in the Melco drainage basin, which also includes the northern ditch and the southern ditch. Tony Parrott with MSD says they were able to contain contaminants from the crash to that basin.
And one of the things that I think is very clear for the public to understand is that that basin has been isolated ever since. And so everything that has collected in that basin did not release to the waterways.
Parrott says crews have skimmed large pieces of sludge off the top of water with machines, but oil is harder to catch. So crews have set up what's called booms all along the creeks. Those booms act like a wall and absorb the floating oil. Crews also are deploying what looks like pieces of paper, but they're actually more like sponges called sorbents. They soak up all the oil and are then removed by crews. Parrott says even with these multiple tools, they're still monitoring the waterways constantly.
We ask folks to avoid touching, swimming, fishing, or kayaking, or interacting in those waterways in any fashion, and keep your pets away from the water as well.
The section of Pond Creek that crews are working on is just steps away from Nick Rodman Park. That's why Shirelicki says he hopes crews can get it cleaned up fast.
Relatively, I mean, it's used quite a bit, and that's why I would like to see some testing and make sure it's safe for the kids and things.
Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, a massive fire destroys one Kentucky church that's been around for more than a century.
And if you like today, I think you're going to like the next couple of days. Details coming up.